Have you ever looked at someone like Elon Musk, just this force of nature, and wondered what really fuels him? You know, his drive, those huge visions, even the controversial stuff.
Yeah, what's going on underneath it all? What hidden forces, maybe even what kind of cosmic blueprint might be guiding someone like that?
Exactly. Where do we start? Like any plan, you start with the foundation, right? The bedrock.
Absolutely.
So we see his sun is at 5 degrees Cancer, and it's in the 12th house.
Okay.
And his ascendant, his rising sign, is around 13.5 degrees Cancer. Now, this is Elon Musk we're talking about, often seen as super driven, maybe even detached. So how does all this Cancer energy, sensitivity, intuition, nurturing, how does that actually show up? It feels like a bit of a paradox.
It really does, and that's what makes his chart so fascinating.
Yeah.
So your sun sign, that's your core identity, your basic energy. His is Cancer, like you said.
Yeah.
A water sign.
Yeah.
Deep emotions, intuition, connection to roots, security.
Right.
But here's the twist. It's in his 12th house. And the 12th house is, well, it's the realm of the hidden. Subconscious stuff, universal connections, sometimes even self-undoing, things hidden from the self.
Okay, so hidden depths there.
Definitely. Yeah, his ascendant, or rising sign, the filter, how you present yourself, your public face, that's also in Cancer.
Both Cancer.
Both. And what's really key is his sun is conjunct his ascendant. Basically, they're right together.
What does that mean, practically?
It means that inner Cancer self, the intuitive, sensitive, reflective side, gets projected outwards, very visibly. What you see is, in many ways, who he is. It's pretty unfiltered.
Interesting.
Though, because it's Cancer, which is, fluid, it can sometimes look like a shifting mask, like you hinted at, adapting the outer shell.
Okay. And what about his moon, the emotional core?
Right. The moon, that's at 8 degrees Virgo in the 2nd house. So get this. Sun in Cancer, ascendant in Cancer, moon in Virgo. It's this intense water-earth interplay.
Water and earth. Intuition meets practicality.
Exactly. Deep intuition and sensitivity meeting sharp, meticulous precision.
It's the visionary who can also, painstakingly design the rocket engine details.
That blend. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense when you think about its work. Okay, so there's some connection there. How do his emotions, his inner world, actually harmonize with that core identity? We see a moon sextile sun aspect. What does that harmonious link suggest? How do his feelings and identity work together?
Yeah, that moon sextile sun is pretty telling. A sextile in astrology is generally harmonious, showing ease, opportunity. It points to a cohesive emotional structure.
So they work well together.
Pretty much. His practical Virgo moon syncs up nicely with his Cancer sun. It fosters what you could call disciplined intuition.
Disciplined intuition, I like that.
Think of it like this. His gut feelings, his deep sensitivities, they aren't fighting his analytical, detail-focused mind. They actually collaborate.
Okay.
This helps stabilize his impulses. Feelings and sharp analysis is working together pretty seamlessly, which could explain how he takes these huge, almost fantasy-level ideas.
Like colonizing Mars.
Right, and then builds actual, meticulously planned companies around them, even when everyone else says it's impossible.
Exactly. That aspect really supports that capability.
That's a really powerful integration. But, hearing about this disciplined intuition, it makes sense, but I'm also thinking about, some of his more public outbursts or controversies, times when he seems to be in real conflict. Does the chart show any of that? Any internal friction or tension?
Oh, absolutely. And this is where it gets, like you said, really interesting. And it might shed light on some of those more challenging behaviors. Let's talk about the tensions. Specifically, his moon squaring Saturn and Neptune. This forms a T-square.
A T-square. Okay, what kind of emotional tension does that setup create?
A significant amount. A square aspect is all about tension, friction, challenges that push you to resolve inner conflicts. A T-square is like, imagine 2 planets squaring each other, and both of those are opposite a 3rd planet.
Like a T-shape on the chart.
Exactly. It creates this dynamic focal point of constant pressure. So for Elon, you've got Saturn in Gemini pushing against his moon.
Saturn, discipline, limits.
Right. And in Gemini, it could bring this critical restraint, maybe communication blocks, even a kind of cold self-judgment, like a really harsh inner critic.
Okay, that's one side.
Then you also have Neptune in Sagittarius, and it's retrograde, also squaring his moon. Neptune is about ideals, dreams, but also confusion, blurred boundaries.
So idealism meets criticism, both hitting his emotions.
Precisely. When these two complex energies square his moon so tightly, it strongly suggests what astrologers often call a mother archetype wound.
Meaning Not necessarily about his actual mother.
Not necessarily literal, no. It's more about a deep emotional pattern. Maybe feeling immense pressure from overly analytical expectations his own, or from the past clashing with this vague, hard-to-pin-down need for emotional connection or nurturing.
Ah, like a deep internal conflict.
A constant one. It creates internalized pressure that likely shapes his emotional responses, maybe leads to that guardedness we sometimes see.
That explains a lot about that push-pull dynamic. Okay, let's shift gears. Let's talk about that incredible drive, the engine behind everything.
Yeah, the powerhouse.
We see Mars in Aquarius in his 8th house, and it's squaring Mercury and his ascendant, plus it's conjunct his north node. That's a lot going on there. What energy does this Mars give him?
Okay, connecting this to the bigger picture, this Mars in Aquarius is absolutely a core driver of his destiny. Let's break it down. Mars, planet of drive, energy, assertion.
Right.
In Aquarius, sign of innovation, radical thinking, detachment. So this brings immense drive, yes, but specifically revolutionary energy, pursuing radical ideas without getting bogged down by tradition or emotion.
And the 8th house placement.
That's key too. The 8th house deals with deep transformation, shared resources, big finance like mergers and acquisitions, even death and rebirth themes. So his drive is tied to profound change, often through powerful joint ventures.
Okay, what about the squares to Mercury and the ascendant?
Those squares inject friction. Squaring Mercury, the communication planet, the trickster, and his ascendant, his public face. It means how he asserts himself publicly can be confrontational, maybe jarring. He doesn't really hold back, does he?
Definitely not.
But the absolute clincher here is the conjunction with his north node.
The destiny point.
Exactly. The north node points to your soul's path in this life, what you're here to learn and do. His destiny is literally tied to this innovative, transformative, sometimes confrontational drive, especially in areas involving power and shared resources.
So that's where the visionary ruthlessness comes from. It's almost faded.
It really looks that way.
Yeah.
He's seemingly here to transform, to disrupt and rebuild, almost like it's a mission he has to fulfill regardless of the obstacles.
Wow. Okay, with that kind of intense drive, there must also be points of vulnerability, right? Especially for someone so public.
Yeah.
Let's look at Chiron. It's in Aries in his 10th house, and it's also squaring Mercury and his ascendant. Chiron, the wounded healer. How does that play out in his career and public life?
That Chiron placement is hugely significant. Chiron shows our deepest wounds, yes, but also where we can potentially heal ourselves and teach others through those wounds.
Okay.
So Chiron in Aries, the pioneer, the fighter, and in the 10th house career, public image, authority. It points directly to a public wound, something linked to his role as a boundary pusher, a pioneer, maybe a disruptor.
A wound related to his public role itself.
Exactly. It suggests this ongoing vulnerability around his reputation, his identity in the world. But it's not just a weak spot. It feeds into his ambition through adversity.
How so?
It's like the challenges, the public attacks, the very wounds he gets publicly. They become fuel. They force a kind of healing by leadership. He innovates because of the difficulties, leads through them. His public persona is constantly being tested and refined by fire.
Another paradox. The wound driving the mission. Fascinating. Now, let's talk about something that isn't there. A significant absence. The missing fire element. Very few, if any, inner planets in fire signs.
Right. That's a really crucial point.
What impact does that have on someone with such, well, obvious drive?
The fire element Aries, Leo, Sagittarius gives that natural confidence, optimism, that inner knowing or faith in yourself and your path. Without much of that from inner planets, Elon Musk's huge drive isn't likely fueled primarily by, say, deep inner conviction or unwavering faith.
So where does the fuel come from?
Well, paradoxically, this lack can actually drive more risk-taking, an intense, almost obsessive need for success, and a constant search for recognition. It's fueled more by external validation than guided by an inner fire.
So the drive is there, but it needs external proof.
Exactly. It suggests this drive without faith finds its confirmation in tangible results. He needs to see the rockets fly, see the cars sell, see the impact, to really feel that sense of accomplishment, rather than drawing it from some deep well of just knowing he's right. That external validation becomes the fuel.
That makes a strange kind of sense. Okay, building on that idea of destiny we touched on, some interpretations mention a larger pattern in his chart, a yod, sometimes called the finger of fate, involving Mars, Mercury, the sun, perhaps.
Yes, the yod.
What does a yod suggest, especially for someone like him?
A yod is a really compelling pattern. It's often described as a cosmic arrow. It points towards unavoidable, life-altering decisions, a strong, unusual sense of destiny or mission.
So it reinforces that fated role idea.
Very much so. It suggests it's not just strong ambition, it's almost like an external force is pushing him down a specific path, one of constant adjustment, innovation, disruption.
Like he has to do it.
It often feels that way with the odd. It's why he might consistently take on these seemingly impossible challenges. It signifies someone uniquely positioned, maybe even obligated, to make these profound fated contributions, often requiring big shifts along the way.
Okay, so let's try and pull all these threads together. What does it all mean? We've got visionary ruthlessness, analytical emotionality, that deep inner conflict, ambition through adversity, and this drive without faith. How do we synthesize this picture of Elon Musk through his chart?
Well, his chart is really, at its core, a study in paradox. You have that deeply intuitive, sensitive Cancer energy,
Right, the hidden core.
filtered to this hyper-analytical, super meticulous Virgo structure, his moon.
Okay.
Then, this complex inner world is driven outward by that confrontational, revolutionary Mars in Aquarius, wired for disruption.
Yeah.
And it's shaped by that publicly wounded Chiron, turning challenges into ambition.
So he's wired to push limits.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wired to innovate relentlessly, yet likely remains deeply emotionally guarded because of that T-square, that potential mother archetype worm.
And the lack of fire.
That lack of inner fire, that absence of easy, inherent conviction pushes him outward, towards tangible accomplishment, toward external validation, rather than being guided by just deep inner belief.
So it paints a picture of
A relentless innovator whose unique role seems driven by this complex blend of inner emotional depth, analytical power, confrontational drive, public wounds, and a constant need for external proof of success and impact. His personal complexity seems utterly tied to his transformative public mission.
It really is a compelling cosmic blueprint. You can see how it paints a picture of someone destined for intense transformation, but also intense public scrutiny. Makes you think about how our own potentials get channeled, doesn't it?
It really does. And given everything we've sort of unpacked here, especially that finger of fate idea and his drive needing external validation, it leaves us with a question, maybe for you, our listener, to think about.
Yeah.
Does Elon Musk chase innovation purely for the recognition, the achievement we can all see? Or is there some underlying cosmic imperative, some fated push, compelling him forward despite his internal emotional world and all the public flack he takes?
That's definitely something to mull over. Is it driven from within or compelled from without? A great thought to leave everyone with.
We hope this deep dive gave you some new perspectives.
Join us next time for another exploration.